Yeah, we are live. Yes, we are live, and we should be live now. Yes, I've been away for a while, and I'm glad I'm back. I am going to send out some couple of invitation if people wish to join this program. But I'm also going to check and see if we can be online, if my mic is working and everything else. I need to find I need to find out. Yes, I need to find out right now. Let me see if my mic is working. Yeah. And also see the trending, you know, because this has to do with some that's the discussion today is going to be a very, very good discussion. Yeah. I wanted to center on a topic that in some cases might be divisive, especially to people that have their own I would say have their own way of viewing things. It might not be the way that I view it, which I do understand. Because sometimes in the I would say politics is very, very intriguing. It's an intriguing stuff to be in politics. But at the same time, it's also very, very intriguing to come from a region where I would say a region in Nigeria where things are not done the right way, but nobody want to talk about it. And the reason why nobody wants to talk about it is that the eye of certain people, or they just want to be politically correct, or they don't want to start something. But in Igbo culture, there is something that is said. There is an adage that says Ezenyagwana. Ezenyagwana means that the king who doesn't want to be told. And in this situation, when nobody tells you what is wrong with you, you're bound for failure. And in most cases, these failures can be catastrophic. Catastrophic in the sense that it will reverberate so bad to the culture, to the people, to politics, and especially in some cases to the region at whole. I am not here to castigate any individual, but I'm here to discuss the problem in in our cities. I have traveled to Nigeria many a times, and especially been around the eastern Nigeria. I've been to other parts of Nigeria, and one thing that I can ascertain is that most cities in Nigeria are very dirty cities. Not just dirty, very dirty. But one city in particularly took my notice, and that's the city of Onitsha. The city of Onitsha, I would tell you, I don't care what people think, is a very, very dirty city. If you look at my thumbnail, you will see what I describe as a city so dirty that even the zincs are dirty, rusty. The roads are just filthy. There is no attraction for a better tomorrow. I was having conversation with a girl that was about 6 years ago, and we were talking about her graduation, and I was so happy that she was graduating. Lived in Onitsha, and then I was like, "What is the prospect for your job?" She's like, "Oh, I have to travel to Lagos or Abuja to go get a job." I'm like, "Why would you travel to Lagos or Abuja to go get a job if you are from Anambra State? There should be a job." And she's like, "You don't understand." I'm like, "Okay, make me understand." She's like, "There is no job for white collar workers in Onitsha." I'm like, "Huh?" She's like, "All the jobs in and around Anambra State, especially in the Igbo region of the country, are made up of jobs created by traders. There is no tech company, there is no engineering, there is no any form of company that will attract white collar. In fact, it is that bad." And I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, "Are you trying to tell me that there is no white collar jobs in the eastern region?" She's like, "No white collar jobs, no tech companies. All you have is jobs created by traders. It's all trading, buying and selling." This was 6 years ago. I brushed it off after a few discussions. Then I was in Nigeria last 2 weeks. I came back this week, and I was having a conversation with my brother's brother-in-law. That's one of our in-laws. That's the elder brother to my elder brother's wife. And we're having this conversation about things in the eastern region. And he then told me that yes, he used to live in the northern region of the country. He used to live in the northern region. I'm gonna have to tell you guys to excuse me for a minute. Just excuse me. So I was like, what okay, tell me more. Then he was like, okay, that what happened is that he moved from the northern region of the country to the east. Then I'm like, okay, good, 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 good. That's better, for security, right? He said yes. I said, but are you still selling your computer stuff in the east now that you've moved to the east? It's like, I tried, but I couldn't. This is conversation between two men. Then I was like, okay, why didn't you sell your computer stuff if you're not in the East, which means you should have more leverage? You shouldn't panic about security in most cases. It's like, I can't sell computer parts in the East because the Eastern people don't really make use of computers. I was dumbfounded. I'm like, are you trying to tell me that in Eastern Nigeria that people don't make use of computers? It's like they don't really put any emphasis on computer. That he couldn't even sell a computer part since he moved to Nnewi beer industry. That in the East, people consume a lot of beer than consume information technology. I was shocked. And I couldn't really doubt him because I could see for myself that there was no technological business, no information system, no tech company around the eastern Nigeria, no advertisement for tech. But there are a lot of advertisements for beer companies, eatery places, and I was pissed off. I was not happy by what I was hearing. I was not happy. Similarly, what this tells you is this: for the city of Onitsha to become a capable city. Uh, if you're online and you want to join this conversation, right? I think I posted a link on YouTube. I can also post the link again. If you want to join this conversation, click on the link and join because I would like us to talk. I would like you guys to join this conversation. But going back to what I was saying, so looking at the whole thing in the eastern region of Nigeria, I just couldn't find any ad for campus, for tech industries, for for industry, for anything that has to do with development of a city. The advertisement that I was seeing in the eastern region was all about beers, alcohol. You know, hotels are being built all over the whole eastern region, and we are talking about creating a Dubai in the east. Dubai is not just it's not a city for fun only. It's a city where tech industries, transactions happen, gold sales happen, oil and gas transactions take place. Difference of businesses of various types take place in Dubai. Any commercial city around the world require a white collar job, meaning that there must be offices, there must be people moving around with briefcases, there must be people moving around with documents, there must be people going about doing transactions in boardrooms, discussing, making deals happen, not buying and selling items, not buying and selling shoes, not buying and selling clothes that are not well coordinated, not loose market atmosphere. Because that's what we have in Eastern Nigeria. What we have in Eastern Nigeria is what I termed loose market atmosphere. Loose market atmosphere does not build cities. It does not build development. It doesn't make cities what they are supposed to be. No, it does not. Those are called loose market atmosphere. We should do better, and we should do better. We should do better because in a place like Eastern Nigeria, we should be able to have technologies, we should be able to have technological know-hows, we should be able to have white collar jobs, we should be able to have businesses that has to do with boardroom. We should be able to have law firms of different types. We should be able to have accounting firms. We should be able to have banking headquarters. We should be able to have offices, high rises, not 4-story buildings, residentials. No, businesses cannot thrive. 21st century cities cannot take place. Onitsha, as I know it, is 1965 city. It's still pre-Civil War and just 5 years of post-Civil War. Let me just say 1975. Onitsha is what cities look like in 1975 at the latest. We shouldn't be prideful of that. Onitsha is a very dirty city. In fact, the whole of eastern Nigeria have dirty cities. It's either we are building commercial apartments or we are building residential. We don't even build offices. We don't build commercializations. We don't build 21st century industrialization. We don't even build 21st century offices. We don't even have competitive building. We don't even have eco buildings. We don't even have buildings of the 21st century. No, we don't. We don't. And we have people outside Nigeria and in Nigeria bragging about places to go to, bragging about that we want, or talking about that let's go back to our own place, our region. Our region is filthy. In fact, the whole country is filthy, but eastern Nigeria is more filthy. In eastern Nigeria, we have a problem where even even traders build buildings beyond stipulated line, residential stipulated line, into the street. And one thing we do know is that traders do not obey laws and regulations. It's not in their nature. Give me a second. Yeah, I tried to change my camera view because I found out that the camera, I was using the front facing instead of the back facing. So let me just adjust my camera for a moment for you guys to have a better clarity. I just discovered that what I have is not a better clarity, so I have to fix it. Because yeah, now I have a much more better clarity. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. Traders in Eastern Nigeria, they, traders are people that will not obey rules and regulations. It's not in their nature to do so. They will not do so because it's just not in their nature. But it is in our human nature as people to use technology, to use computer aided designs, to modify a city, to build a city, to categorize a city, and be able to place things that are needed in certain spot of the city. You can't do that in a situation or in a place where traders, people that never went to school for city planning, to be the one planning cities, they can't do that. It's not in their nature. They never did that because they are not trained to be city planners. You would, because I gotta tell you this, when you go to the eastern Nigeria and you want to do city planning, you have a big uphill climb because you're dealing with men with almost no education. Like in my hometown, there is a man, just our neighbor, the next neighbor to our house. We are still fighting this guy to push his fence in because he has gone beyond the city line. But he still refused, even when the youth and the elders came and told him, no, you've exceeded the city line, you have to go back. He still refused. Or the community line. He still refused. He's still putting up a fight. But that tells you how traders think. They don't have respect for rule of laws. They don't have respect for regulation. They think that the little money that they have has placed them in a spot whereby they have a say. You see what I'm saying? They believe they have a say. They believe that, yes, rules and regulation apply to you, but it doesn't apply to him. That's the way he sees it. And that is catastrophic because the reason why I say it's catastrophic is because it's not the way to do things. You don't do things by being disrespectful or delusional to rules and regulations. No, you're not. But it tells you about the atmosphere of of where these people operate. And it tells you their mindset. Because the reason why it gives you that kind of mindset is because they are not cut out to be city planners. They never went to school for it. So that's what it is. Give me a second because Yeah, my television in my house was kind of disturbing my flow. So these people are not cut out to be this way. They're not cut out to be city planners. They're not cut out to be developers. They are traders. They are trained for one thing to buy and sell. They do not have respect for rule of laws. But guess what? The problem in Anambra State today is this. When there is an incoming government, that incoming government has to deal with the traders. And I was discussing with somebody recently, and it was like Anambra State and Eastern Nigeria is full of aboros. And I'm like, why wouldn't you have done many aboro in Anambra State and the whole of Eastern region? I said, because the reason why is because wherever you have traders, there have to be aboros. Aboros and traders work hand in hand. But if we have to fix the Eastern region, we have to drive the traders, not drive them, but move them to certain spots of the state, which means we have to spread them around. And now the bank of the River Niger will then be turned into 21st century city development to 22nd century city development because now we are almost 23 years into the 21st century. Before you know it, we're going to be halfway. We are almost one quarter into the 21st century. It's scary, right? But we can still achieve a lot. So the way we can achieve a lot is this. We have to move the traders inland, regulate trading spots where they have to be, but also drive technological industries, accounting firms, law firms, fabrication companies, headquarters, I mean, white collar jobs into Onitsha and its surroundings. Make those offices to be enclaved around the River Niger Bank. When we have them situated around the River Niger Bank, now we can be able to develop what we call beautiful skylines on the river bank. So by having beautiful skyline on the river banks, now we can have clean cities. Cities where people can come and do businesses, where plane can fly into Anambra Airport or Asaba Airport. But I gotta tell you one thing, Anambra State alone cannot achieve this feat. We need neighboring states around our community, around our regions to do this. We need Imo State, Abia State, all those river bank states, including by night what they call it Delta State. We need Delta State to be able to enclave around that, that's to also focus in the development of that river bank. I got to tell you this for sure. By having people focused on the development of that river bank, now you can bring companies from not just in Nigeria, but around the world to be able to situate their offices, their headquarters on the river bank. Because I got to tell you this, if we as neighboring as states on the river bank develop those communities on the river bank to become the 21st century spot for for offices to be situated, now we can be able to develop our region. Because I gotta tell you, we need to develop many parts of Nigeria. I'm not just focusing on developing Eastern region only, but on this discussion today, my focus is on nature. And I'm telling you, with what we have right now, with the kind of power that we've given to the traders in the Eastern region, our Eastern region will continue to be a port, that's, I would say, a haven for dirty environment. I've been around the Eastern region. The Eastern region has so many beautiful topographies. But one thing that I've also encountered in the Eastern region is because of the high level of people with business, that's, I mean trading, because when I say business is is much of a higher level, but these are traders. The the, the, the visibility of traders in the Eastern region has caused the deterioration of our cities. We need to stop this. We need to find a way to situate or get or get these traders to situate their presence deeper into our region, but create space around the riverbank area, around the highways for offices to thrive, because that is the only way that our cities clean. Traders do not, like I said many times, traders do not respect laws. They do not respect rules. They do not respect regulations. We need to make our cities clean cities. So, what I'm going to tell you guys now is this. How do we get this fixed? We can get it fixed by bringing the campaign, by spreading the campaign, by being involved in the campaign of getting our state governments to start attracting businesses, white collar jobs into the Eastern region. Because if white collar jobs, check this out, if white collar jobs start coming into the Eastern region, it also brings about security. Our kids can graduate from universities and have jobs. But today, the reason why we have a high level of crime in the Eastern region is because when these kids graduate, they don't have a choice but to go to Lagos and Abuja. Please, if you want to join this conversation, you can come live on the program. You can come live by clicking on that the link in the chat. If you click on the link on the chat, you can join this conversation so we can all have one-on-one conversation. Okay, is open to the public. This conversation is open for anyone to join. But going back to what I'm saying, we have to have our youth today, when they graduate from universities, they can get job in Eastern Nigeria. They can get jobs in any of the city, all the way to Calabar, all the way to Ibino, all the way to Eket, all the way to Uyo, all the way to Port Harcourt, all the way to Onitsha, all the way to Enugu, all the way to Asaba, all the way to Owerri, all the way to Aba, all the way to Abakaleke. But we can't do these things if we cannot invite white collar jobs. We got to start inviting white collar jobs. If we have the means of establishing one, let's start establishing. Because I got to tell you, I am sick and tired of people always telling me, oh, there is no security in Eastern Nigeria for which to establish. No, you got to start doing something, because I got to tell you, what you see right now will get worse, because every year Nigeria is producing almost 200,000 unemployed youths. It's very dangerous. And some of these kids, I got to tell you, almost one third of them are very, very good students. They have what it takes to make things happen. I have seen in Eastern Nigeria, I've seen youth before college building drones, building cars. No way of being encouraged. But the only way we can encourage these kids is to build what it takes for them to be employed. If you have choice, if you have the what it takes, or if you're a pharmacist, you can get teamed up with some of your pharmaceutical or pharmacist friends. You guys can start a company in Eastern Nigeria. If you're into mechanical, you can get two or three of your friends. You can start a fabrication company in Eastern Nigeria. There are thousands, millions of youths in the East alone or all over Nigeria that can contribute to the betterment of our society only if we can create the jobs. We cannot let we cannot leave our cities to be run by traders. Traders do not have respect for rule of law. They can't develop cities because they are not trained to do that. But we, as white collars, we can make the difference. That is why I'm asking. I'm going to be releasing more programs. I'm going to be bringing more charts to support what I'm saying. I'm also going to be bringing more videos to actually encourage people to see what our cities look like. Our cities are filthy. Onitsha is filthy, in particular, is filthy. I'm glad we have two bridges coming into Onitsha now. But just imagine two bridges coming into Onitsha. When you go through that assault and you go over the either bridge of your choice, which is going to start happening in May. If you go through those bridge of your either bridge of your choice and you get into the eastern region, what welcomes you? What is going to welcome you is nothing but a very, very filthy environment. A very, very filthy environment. That is the first thing that is going to welcome you. Should we continue like that? No, I don't think we should. I think we should start building. We should start opening things that will make difference in our society. Oh, the city dies. Welcome to the program. I know
Hello.
you've been listening to me, and I'll be happy if you can contribute to this discussion.
Oh no. Yes. Hi. I would contribute. I've been listening. I've been taking notes about the points that you're making, but I just thought I should come in and listen and contribute to what you're saying. I'll quickly introduce my name. My name is CT. I'm from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Um, I live in Canada. But I just said I should come in and kind of contribute and be part of your conversation.
Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate that tremendously.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So, based on what I've said so far, let me
Hmm.
ask you a quick question. It's just I'm not trying to dice you or maybe or say something be to belittle or maybe say something that is out of line. Let me ask
Okay.
you a quick question. When was the last time you went to Nigeria?
It was December 2001. That was right in the
Okay,
middle of the pandemic. Yeah.
um, 2021, right? Not
Yes.
2001. You mean
Yo,
2021?
2021. Sorry about that. Yeah,
Yeah, because you said
2021.
2001. Okay,
Yeah.
2021. Where did you fly into Port Harcourt or you flew into Lagos or Abuja?
I flew through Abuja.
Okay,
It
which is
was
always my point. That's my point
yeah,
of entry as well.
yeah. It was so usually we have, at least I know of, a straight flight to Port Harcourt usually goes through Lufthansa through Abuja. Basically a stop by through Abuja to Port Harcourt. Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
In some
that's how it
cases,
flew.
sometimes Lufthansa fly directly to Port Harcourt and then come back to Abuja and pick people and leave. Or maybe sometimes it
Exactly.
stops in Abuja and then pick people from Abuja and then go to Port Harcourt and then take off from there. Yeah, they go either way. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
So when you flew into Port Harcourt, when you flew into Abuja, what did you think about the airport once you flew in?
Um, Okay, so as correctly as you said, when I don't think I stopped by. I didn't notice much about Abuja except through the airplane because I was just in the plane, so I didn't get
When
out.
they play, you couldn't get out. That's
Yeah,
true. That's true. Like you
yeah.
couldn't
So
get out.
yeah, so I didn't like stay a day or stop by in
Yeah.
Abuja. It was
Yes.
straight to Port
Yes.
Harcourt flight. So
Straight to
I
Port
just
Harcourt.
observed from the air. It looked good,
Yeah.
but I can't really make
Yeah.
any inferences to what I observed.
That's right. So when you flew into Port Harcourt,
Hmm? Yep.
when you flew into Port Harcourt, what did you think? Because I've been to Port Harcourt Airport either two or three times.
Yes.
What did you
Uh,
think about Port Harcourt?
it just looked because I have to give a little background. I've been here now for 13 years, and when I went in 2021 was my first time in 10 years
Hmm.
back home. So it's been a little while I've been home when I went. Um, when I came in, I was kind of having an open mind, but it felt really it felt really backward because they had to drop you off and you had to walk all the way into the lobby, right?
Yes.
In the middle
Yes.
of nowhere. I've seen it a little bit in Canada here in like smaller airports, so it didn't feel too
Yes.
strange. It should be a bigger
Yes.
airport. I would
Uh-huh.
say I wasn't too disappointed because I don't think I
Hmm.
had too much expectation,
That's right.
right, in Port
That's
Harcourt.
right.
So it was, I came in, I wouldn't say, but this was also a renovated kind of Port Harcourt airport too, from what I
Yeah,
observed.
because I know they are building a new one on the other
Oh,
side. They're
the
building
new one is
yeah,
good because when you're going
yeah, yeah.
international, you go through the
Yes.
new international part of it.
Yes.
Now that is world class.
Yeah.
That's a really
Yeah.
good building out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the only thing that troubles me about Nigerian airport is that they don't build them. They don't expand them. They build them like a showcase room. Like they
Yes.
don't expand them and make it futuristic. Like they don't make it a welcoming environment. They're still building it the way I would say US airports were built in the maybe like 30, 35 years ago as a
Exactly.
stopgap.
Yeah. In the
Yeah.
smaller cities, like how the older
Yeah.
places were, I think.
Yes. Yeah. But they don't be like an interconnected airport because if you go to like to Frankfurt
Yeah.
or Paris, Charles de Gaulle, or you go to Heathrow. In fact, I think Nigeria built their airports more like London.
Probably more like London.
Yeah,
Yes, I would say
yeah,
that. I've
because
seen
they
it.
build it detached, but not wide because the London airports are very wide,
I'm
but they are all
connected too.
detached.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are connected through the underground. Just like most US airports were built, like
Yeah.
US airports, they build them in a way that they are all connected. No, they are all separate terminals.
Yeah.
They're all separate terminals, but
Yeah.
then you have
Like
to
Toronto
take it
Airport. Yeah.
exactly. But today's airport, they are all built like a big giant stadium, like Frankfurt, and then you can just go from that's the express, like even Shanghai Airport. But not to lose control, not to lose
Just focus.
focus on what we're discussing. When you went into Port Harcourt, what was your view of the city in general? Because I've been
Oh.
inside Port Harcourt before.
Well,
I was there like 4 months, 5 months ago. No, last year. I was there earlier last year.
I,
Yeah.
I really observed changes to because I grew up there till I moved, right? So the main thing
Mm-hmm.
I observed were the things that actually changed, right? I
Mm-hmm.
kind of found Port Harcourt to have a little bit more infrastructure, right? In terms
Yeah.
of roads and highways and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Kind of expanding a little bit into what they're calling more like a greater Port Harcourt region around it.
Yeah.
But the main thing that was very obvious, maybe because it wasn't there before I left, was the presence of black suit in the city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the presence of black suit was so obvious because then you were wearing a mask, right? Before you even
Yes.
move a bit, you can see the black suit on your mask, your hands, your feet. You know what I mean? It
That
was
is
just in the
so
air.
it's a pollution.
Pollution is a bad case of pollution, right? And
Mm.
from what I observed, it was all due to oil bunkering and stuff like
And
that
fl-
going.
and oil flaring, right?
Yes, and
Oil
oil
flaring.
flaring, yeah, that's
Yeah.
causing that.
Be-
But yeah,
because when I was in I think when I was in Eket, no, when I was in New York, I actually was at the Ministry of Energy, and then we were discussing something like that, and then I told them that there are kind of oil pollution in this area that has to do with air particles. They denied completely. No, we don't have no oil. I'm like, man, I can see it. It's obvious in the air, but
it's
they
in the
denied it.
air. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And then they told me, no, we don't have any oil thing. I even got confused. I started even doubting my own self. Like, okay,
yeah.
maybe I wasn't thinking right. But that's how defensive Nigerians can be when confronted about issues at hand. Is Port Harcourt the only place you've been to was it the only place you went to when you were in Nigeria?
I stopped by for a couple of days in Lagos.
Mm-hmm,
When I was there, when I was going, I stopped through Lagos, went to Port Harcourt, and then flew all the way straight. I was
mm-hmm,
there for a couple of days, but I wouldn't say I went into the city too a lot because of traffic. So I stayed around the airport. Um, I, there were a lot of like with Lagos because I've never been there before. I don't know if I
yeah,
observed much, and I didn't get into mainland a lot or way
mm-hmm,
into the island much, right?
mm-hmm,
But from around the airport region, it felt like Nigeria, right? There was a little bit of there was not any chaos
everything.
going on. There was just stuff going on. The regular street markets, right, were right there and stuff like that. So it felt like everything was happening. I didn't really
Mhm.
observe anything different. I was trying to go into the city, but The friends that I was supposed to go in with because of traffic couldn't come in. It took hours to go come from mainland up onto the airport. It was a lot of things going on, so I didn't really get the opportunity to see Lagos properly. But I would say when it comes to Nigeria, the only part I'm really familiar with is Port Harcourt and River State in general. Um,
Yes.
as well. But inside Port Harcourt, there's a lot of Eastern people, right? So you kind of deal with them.
Yes.
I've been to Owerri Imo.
It's,
I've been to Anambra.
uh, Port Harcourt is Eastern Nigeria.
Yeah,
They say South South. I don't understand. I've never seen in any geography, any geographical compass where you can have South South. you know,
yeah.
I know you can have Southeast Southwest, but you can't have South South. But
Yeah, that's interesting because there's no not, right?
that's right, exactly. There is no North. They
There's
know
no
what they do.
not. So it's
Yeah,
interesting why there is a south, but there's no
South South.
not, right? If there was a
Yeah,
not, I could understand it, right?
it
It's
would have made
all
sense.
it would have made sense. But
Yeah,
without a not, it's like what was the need to really create a south if you were not going to create a not, right?
that's right.
To but instead of a not, they now did a
They
north
made it
central.
North Central. That's right. I was born in North. I was born in North. I was born in Cali, so that is considered North Central. So you said you've been to Aba and Owerri, right?
I've been to Aba,
Mhm.
which is Abia. I've been to Owerri, which is Imo, and I've been to Oka, which is Anambra State.
Okay. Now we are going to get into the dicey. That's the nucleus of the conversation. When did you go to Aba?
Aba was mainly trade. So when I was
Okay.
younger, went there basically to the Aba market, right?
Hmm.
So
And
I
what
was
about
mainly
Owerri?
with a lot. Owerri was it had to do with Futo, the university,
Okay, Futo.
in Owerri, right? So that's what really took me there. And Anambra was more like a southeastern kind of educational conference that my mom went
Hmm.
for, so I went along. So those were the experiences I've had outside of the state.
So when you arrived, based on your knowledge of those places, or maybe your short visit of those places, and now you're in Canada,
Hmm.
what comparison do you have for any of those places to where you are in terms of
Um,
environmental?
yeah, it's been a while. So before I also came here too, I had
Nothing
to
has
meet.
really changed.
Yeah,
Environmental, nothing has really changed.
probably. Uh,
Yeah.
Probably. The thing is, before I came here, I didn't know any better, right? You just
Hmm.
know that there is abroad. You don't know how far out the technology really is, right? So I would say I didn't know much better when I went there, but the comparison, even when I came, but went back 2 years ago, it's like night and day in terms of
Hmm.
both the technology, the environment, that is the environment on back home. One thing I observed, one of the places I can say is in Oka, Anambra. The one thing I observed was the hills. I think that was the thing, but it's very common here. Now you come here, a lot
Yeah,
of Canadian cities are really like has hills, like serious like
yeah,
hills. So it's kind of more, but back then it was really, it's not a thing that's in Port Harcourt a lot with hills, right?
yeah. But Port Harcourt is flat.
It's flat, yeah. So
Yeah,
Anambra was like hills with a lot of red
yeah,
sand. I think that's one thing I
yes,
remember when I was there. But in terms of the environment, because of the red sand and stuff, right? There was all this when it rained, it was a little tacky with the red sand. But
hmm,
I got our own problem with our environment is the oil drilling. Basically,
yes,
with the oil exploration mainly. For the north, when I went to Aba, was basically, as you were trying to mention, was the trade, right? It was complete
yeah,
chaos, right? Everywhere
chaotic,
was chaotic,
chaotic.
right? Everybody's trying to pull you over, everybody's trying to sell something, everybody's selling anything and buying anything. So it was that little
But
chaos. Yeah.
it, that boils down to what I'm talking about. That about the trading environment in Eastern Nigeria is so bad that is chaotic, just like you said, because you shouldn't have huge amount of people doing trade in a country like that,
Yeah, in a small
especially when you
space
have
like that.
in a small space. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is no white collar job. So Do you think that traders are the big problem in the East, or white collar jobs now, which is the same thing?
Yeah.
Are traders a big problem in the East?
I was having this conversation recently. I don't think traders are the problem. I think there is too much of a concentration of trading in the East. So what do I mean
Mhm,
about that? I had this conversation recently, and I was trying to say that Igbo people, trading is a beautiful thing. It's like entrepreneurship, right? It's like building a business,
mhm,
right? There's something
mhm,
really
mhm.
good. There's really something really good about it. But what they don't add to it enough is education, in my opinion. It's the
That's
ability
right.
to make things efficient, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of traders with business mindsets, but they don't know how to make it as efficient. They don't use technology to build it. They don't use IT, any
Yes.
of that. So it's
Mhm.
this really smart traders that understand business but have zero understanding of technology and advancement
Mhm.
and education. So in my opinion, it's about getting those traders or the skills they have and adding education and optimization of what they're doing to it.
That's right.
Yeah, and I was having this conversation because when you said is the traders the problem, I would say education and business, when they come hand in hand, it works really well, right? So
Mhm.
it's that
Mhm.
infusion of education in the East, similar to what
Mhm.
I think a little bit, not that it's that much. When you look at the Yoruba people, they prioritize education a lot, and
Yeah.
then the business savvy side might not be too there too much. So they're real professionals. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Lawyers,
Mhm.
doctors, like education at the highest level, getting it. But so I always say they kind of butt heads because it's basically knowledge and education butting head with trade and like business savvy without the education. So I always
Yeah.
say I don't think trade is the problem, but I think they are missing efficiency, technology, as you were stating, and IT and
Yes.
optimization in it.
Yeah. Because to actually agree to what you just said, if you look at just like in my early conversation, I was saying something about moving the traders
Mm,
away from Onitsha because they are main market Onitsha, right?
yeah,
If you go to that main market, the streets leading to main market are traders in every direction leading to that main market. And as soon as you hit that main market, now is the big color, is the colossus,
yeah,
you know, and you're like, wow. But they're not supposed to have that many people concentrated in one area or in one town. So I think that what the government of Anambra State is doing at current junction is that they're beginning to slowly move markets. Like if you're in the pharmaceutical, now they're moving the pharmaceutical to my hometown, Oba. They're trying to move the spare parts to Nnewi. They're trying to move people to different locations so that that way they can all be dispersed, which is what they have to do.
yeah.
But when they disperse this individual, the reason for this program is this: if you disperse all these markets to different locations around the state, what do you do with the river bank?
With the what? Sorry.
They, what do they do? What do the governments in those areas or the government of Anambra State does with the river bank?
Oh, the
When I say
riverbank.
river bank, I mean River Niger.
Okay.
Because if you look at the river bank in any country, it's a massive real estate opportunity. I
Mm.
don't know if you've seen it before, if
No,
you've
no.
been to that area. You're talking about a river that is about 1.5 mile wide. That's a big river,
No.
2 kilometers wide or 2.2 kilometers wide. And this river touches about three states in its part, just in that area. And I'm not talking about further down because Kogi is to the north, but I'm talking about from Onitsha down south. You're talking about Anambra, Imo, and Abia on the eastern side of the river. Then on the western side of the river is only one state mainly, but it's stretched all the way down, which is Delta State.
mm,
But the thing is this: you can build multiple cities on both sides.
mm,
Now you can have a huge activity going there that has to do with people driving their boats. You see what I'm
mm.
saying?
Yeah,
All those power boats, jet ski, restaurants around it. You can have high rises, apartment high rises, real estate high rises, offices. So, what do you think about that? Is this something that you think that can be situated in that location? Or
absolutely. Because you said something there. I didn't really know about that and that like stretch. But basically what you said is accurate, right? You got to look at what resources or what's available there and maximize it, right? And what you
Mhm.
said, it's basically my idea. I'm coming from a solution side, but it's to privatize and invite private real estate developers because we all know our
Yeah,
government can't properly do that, right? But
that's right.
yeah, it's to make the environment suitable, safe, right? For I
Hmm.
wouldn't even say international, even though it's local Nigerians, but
Hmm.
real estate developers, as you said, to build high
Yes.
rise, affluent kind of buildings. You want people that can afford boats, right? You want people that can afford
That's right.
boats living around there. You want to clean it up because obviously they're not
Hmm.
going to be there. But basically, if they, I think a lot of things in Nigeria can be solved by privatization, just to increase competition and to increase the
Yes.
quality, right, of what
Yes.
is there, right? So something like what you're saying, I think that can be solved mainly by privatizing it. But where the government comes in is that they gotta secure, say like the security, right? They gotta make it safe and environment for those people to come in. Also help with negotiating to relocate displaced people, right?
Hmm.
In that that affects those banks that whoever is currently there right now, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So help secure, relocate, help do that. But if they can privatize it, give them the same thing is the way the government encourages real estate in this part of the world, right?
That's right.
Whatever benefits they would have, but over the
Or tax or,
long,
ta- or tax incentives. Yeah.
yeah, tax incentives, right? But I think the main one is basically the security, right? Because they don't want to
Hmm.
start building their house, as we were saying, right? You get touts coming in to be a problem, right? When you
Yes.
started doing
Yes.
it, you have to make it safe that the people know that once they start investing this amount of money, that their investments are safe and it's backed
Hmm.
by long-term government commitment. I also think
Hmm.
the way our politics turns over a lot, we need to start setting up processes where we have long-term government commitments. So what do I mean? Just because this governor is no longer here, when we have committed that region, the next person should respect and kind of follow through on what the plan, right,
Yes.
is, even though
Yes.
you don't agree with them. We struggle with
That's
that
right.
a lot, right? So what you said is absolutely, I think that is absolutely correct. Like, but I'm just offering the solution to it. But basically, getting affluent people, building residential and commercial buildings. But if you're going to make it an affluent place, you put in things that people like that want, um, luxury brands and stuff like that, and businesses to that area. Make it clear you're
Hmm.
setting it up for a specific range or like class of people, right? When you do
Yes.
it. But yeah, that would definitely be something that would work. I never knew there was such a resource, because one thing with
Oh.
that, it's gonna be huge in a place like that.
Hmm.
Considering the fact that Anambra, Imo, they are not huge riverine areas, right? So it's going to be high
Hmm.
demand for people that can afford it and businesses that can afford it to find a
Hmm.
place in those locations with such luxuries, right? It's also going to
But
be a
that,
tourist center, yeah.
yeah, that's why it comes down to, like what I was saying earlier, that they have to have an influx of offices,
Yeah,
headquarters, white collar, most just white collar jobs, because you can't keep a city clean if there are no white collar jobs, because white collar job workers are the ones that demand clean cities.
yeah,
They demand efficiency.
yeah,
They always demand that things should be run efficiently. So if you have the trader doesn't care. A trader just want to park his car along the street and just go to a beer parlor and drink and just eat ECO and go home. He doesn't care. So, but white collar job, those are the ones that would demand that okay, that trash are taken out, that the streets are clean, and that the roads are repaired. So it's part of who they are because they demand efficiency. Mostly it's because they went to school.
Yeah.
And in school you taught efficiency. So when you come out of school, you demand efficiency because that's what you taught. So that is why if you build a luxury apartment of 30 story, a trader is not going to want to live in it
Yeah.
because the trader, most of them want to live in their own house that they built.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then another thing again is that they don't understand cleanliness in
They
most
don't
cases.
the impact of it, like the
Yeah, they don't understand the impact of it. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, basically what you said. One thing you were saying there about they want to own their own house is the thing is they are thinking like traders, right?
Hmm.
They A trader is asking himself, why do I have to pay an architect to design
To
the
develop my
house?
house.
You know what I mean? The trader doesn't want to pay professionals, right? It feels
No.
like I can do it, but they don't
Yeah.
understand the value that professionals in white collar kind of setups actually
Hmm.
bring. That they can. It's not like right now. It's like four,
Hmm.
5, 6 years down the line that it looks
Hmm.
unique and different from
Hmm.
what you would
Hmm.
actually create. The architect is
Hmm.
thinking of the whole street being uniform.
Yes.
You don't
Yeah.
care about the whole street being
You
uniform.
care about
You
only
just
your
have
house.
exactly. You care about just your house and how your house looks. But the trader is saying if this whole street looks uniform, I mean the architect rather is saying if the whole street looks uniform, 5 years from now, the value of it would be this. It would look like this. It would have
Hmm.
an appeal that people will be willing to pay more for than exactly
Hmm.
what you require. And the trader
Hmm.
is not looking for, like you said, he's building an individual house, so he's only thinking about it for him to live there forever, right?
Hmm.
But you're not asking
Hmm.
yourself, what are the type of people that need to live here? If I move from here, which other people wants to stay here, right?
Hmm.
So
They,
there's
uh,
a
they
value.
don't they, they don't even calculate the value of real estate because trader will keep it, like you said, they will keep a house forever. But the
Exactly.
trader doesn't understand that if my neighborhood looks great, that is going to increase the value of my
Value.
real estate.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, they don't. I think if you go to Nigeria, if you spend more time in Nigeria, they're beginning to get that mentality now. But it's mostly in Lagos and Abuja
Abuja.
that
Yeah.
you see people thinking of okay, the value of my real estate 5 years from now,
Yeah.
the value of my real estate 10 years from now. But if you go to the eastern region, they just think about okay, I want to build 4 story in Onitsha and I want to build one house in the village.
Yeah.
But the village are fastly disappearing now. They're becoming
Yeah.
township. My hometown 20 years ago was a village. It's no longer a village today.
Yeah,
It's a
and
township.
you're right. Yeah, that's what I meant by
Yeah,
the Greater Port Harcourt area too. Those were
yeah.
real like villages. Like it was when I
In the
left,
day,
it was villages.
yeah. And I remember I was discussing with a family member, and then we were talking about okay, that this house is being built, but in 5 years that another house is going to be built, and everybody was like, "What? Another house?" Okay, but they don't understand that the way white collar people think and the way traders think are not the same.
Yeah,
You can build today 10 houses in your village today. You can do that and sell 8 of them.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So they're not on. They're not. Most of them see it. Okay, I want to rent 8 of them,
yeah,
and I'm telling them, okay, you because they see, okay, the village is no longer a village. There is a big, giant market coming in,
yeah,
a big population coming in, and all they're thinking are traders. But I'm
yeah,
trying to tell them, okay, you got to stop thinking about traders renting in your space. Think about building up. Get into get into partnership with two or three of your friends. So you guys can build this giant high rise instead of building too many houses.
Yeah.
You can actually build up. When you build up, then you guys can turn around and sell those houses. You recuperate all your money back. You
Yeah.
don't have to worry about renting.
Yeah.
You can have somebody pay your house to you in 10 years. Instead of you taking renting for 50 years that you might not leave, what about you get paid for your house in 5 years? And now you bidding extra more. You don't even think about Eastern Nigeria anymore. Think about other places in Nigeria. Nigeria is a massive country.
Oh, yeah. And
Like
fast developing too. I think they don't see it
developing.
fast. It is developing fast. I always tell people you got to look at things and compare it to where it's coming from, right? There is a sentiment in Nigerians to always compare Nigeria to already developed countries. That's not the metric that I actually view things in Nigeria. I view it from where it was 10 years ago, right,
Mm-hmm,
to where it is today. And
mm-hmm,
going back home, like as you said, there's a need. Before everything was in Port Harcourt, the city, right? Now it
yeah.
can't hold people that actually need more land space, developments and stuff, and it's spreading, and it's going to spread.
Mm-hmm,
There is a theory I have, right, that um, the only way for developing societies is to develop. Like if you're bad and everything is horrible, right? There's
mm-hmm.
really only one way up. Either you die off completely or you develop, right?
Oh, you
And
develop,
the
yeah.
only way is if you get too high up there, if there's nowhere to go again, you start dropping, right?
That's
So
right.
yeah, so when I look at Nigeria, a lot of people will say it has been at bottom. So the only way is it's only gonna go up. It's only gonna get more educated people and
Mm-hmm,
more savvy people. If we
mm-hmm.
didn't have any, we can only get more of it. There's no other place
That's
to
right.
go than zero,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm-hmm,
I think so many people don't see that opportunity. I always look at it. I'm like, we're gonna get there. There's enough motivated Nigerians. There are enough getting educated, right?
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
that it's actually gonna get there, and we cannot view how are we developed with the lens of already developed countries. We would never know how they got there because there was no TV, there were no cameras, and there were no
That's right.
the level of technology now. It must have probably been just as bad as it is right now back there. So we gotta actually be really patient, right? Like as you said, as we're talking about the lack of education, we also gotta be patient. It takes time to get a whole bunch of educated people in the East, right? Because you can also see a lot of those traders and stuff, even though they are not the ones getting educated, they're educating their children. They're sending them out of the country, right? They're doing
Mm-hmm,
things to get them educated. So it's going to get to a point there will be
mm-hmm.
enough of those people too. And anytime you have a chance to get into an economy that is developing, you want to take it. You know what I mean? And I think
Oh, yeah.
that's where Nigeria is, because Nigeria has something the world needs, but we have it in the country right there, human resources.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much people understand that human resources is also extremely valuable. The thing that makes a lot of people angry is the same thing that brings a lot of value, right? Which is being
Yes.
exploited, right? Like your human
Mm-hmm.
resources being exploited. When you have enough
Yes.
education and you can convert that exploitation to your own benefit, is just as
Mm-hmm.
powerful. It's like China. It's like China, right? 1.3 billion people and stuff, right?
Oh,
How
yeah.
do you compete with that when they want to take over the world economy, right?
Uh,
It's incredible.
I tell you, when I was, I think I was going to do my passport in Abuja, but then I found out I didn't have time, and then 2 days later it's going to be a holiday for Eid Mubarak. So
Yeah,
what I did was to go to Lafayette, which is the neighboring state, which is in Nasarawa State, that's neighboring state to Abuja.
yeah,
So I went over there. It's a 3 hour drive. Man, when I was driving over there, I was like, wow, Nigeria is fastly developing. They're building roads all over the whole country. I gotta
yeah,
tell you that they're building roads. But then they are mostly Chinese companies.
yeah, yeah,
These are all Chinese companies.
yeah,
The China, engineering something. I'm like, wow. But if you look at it, we have huge manpower
Yep.
to do that. But China, with its 1 point something billion people manpower, is now spreading all over the world, especially Africa, building all these resources, all these infrastructures, developing all these infrastructures for Africa through different means of repayment,
Yep.
which I don't have to go into detail
Yeah. Yeah.
if I don't have first-hand knowledge about it.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, it tells you that any country that is not taking advantage of its population is just a country that is not serious.
Exactly. Because what you said with China is important. There was a
Mhm,
time they were the laughing stock of the world in terms of having sweatshops, being the country that makes everybody this product that they consume. You know what I
mhm,
mean? And it felt very cheap, and all these developed countries became billionaires because of it,
mhm,
right? So there
mhm.
was a time like that. But now, a lot of these countries are not happy that they are reaping the rewards of being the sweatshop of the world,
Yes, that's
right?
right.
Of their consumer
Mhm,
goods. I am not somebody that is particularly bothered about what China is doing in Africa. I would like to see those contracts. That's all I care about for me personally. If
oh
you
yeah,
ask me,
oh yeah.
what do I care about what China is doing? I just want to see the contracts. I have no problem with it. All I want to see there is that somebody is signing fair, valued
Fair deal.
contracts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to give up something. Let's not
Oh yeah,
kind
it's
of,
transaction. It's
it's
transaction.
transactional. And when I hear the obvious, like, the media agenda of what China is doing, obviously not just the people talking just to be angry,
Mm-hmm.
they make it clear there that one thing they're not going to do that's different from the West, they're going to negotiate, is they're not going to tell you what to do. And
Mm-hmm.
I tend to believe that more than people actually do, because that's a
Yes.
country that understands and empathizes with being told what to do,
And he
right?
was told what to do for a long time.
For a long time. So if they tell me
Totally
that,
ripped. They ripped them off.
exactly. So if they are telling you now we are the big players on the board, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
know what you're dealing with right now, and we are not gonna come and run your country for you. And we can see them keeping to their word. People are like, I can see them keeping to their word. They're not interfering in Russia. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
whoever is their allies, they're not interfering with them. You can hear France coming all out here, being like, I'm not going to get into it with China. That means there's something on the back end that they're keeping to their word that we don't know about, not
Mm-hmm.
interfering in personal country businesses and what they're dealing with. So they're keeping to their word, something that a lot of Western countries, I wouldn't say it wasn't, I don't know if they promised anybody that they wouldn't meddle, but people don't want the meddling anymore. Developing countries don't, or other countries really don't want the meddling, right?
Yeah.
So,
If you
so
look,
for, yeah,
if you look at it this way, the reason why the West meddle is because it's always been in the Western culture to tell people what to do, and
yeah,
but mostly to take advantage of people on
yes,
what to do, because they've always had this idea that we have to control people, and we set moral standard, because
yeah,
the West believe that they have to, your morality doesn't matter to them. It's their
yeah.
morality that matters.
Only their
So they
morality that
said,
matters, right? Yeah,
yeah, even no matter how bad that morality is, they don't care. All they care is that, hey, my morality, man, that's their morality is the gold standard. So if you look at China, the reason why China case or diplomatic standard differ from the West is because China sees that if we interfere in people's issue, we can only make it worse by either siding with the good guy or the bad guy.
and you're not sure who it is when you come into another man's land. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing that's interesting. You're only hearing the story of who you can communicate with, and I
That's
say
right.
that because a lot of this meddling is who is educated enough that
Mm-hmm.
gets your audience and you feel their
Yes.
story,
Yes. Because
right?
if you
Yeah.
look at it this way, the reason why the West always, but one thing that people don't understand, like when I speak both in Nigeria and here, I tell people that the reason why the West meddle is because the West will meddle for their own interest. They don't care about your interest. They don't care how many people are killed in your country, as long as their interest is concerned. Just like if you look at the just concluded election in Nigeria, a lot of people are pissed. They also reacted badly to the stance of the British High Commissioner.
Yeah.
I told them, yeah, her stance is very bad, but the British have always told you guys where they stand. That they stand with the North, they never stand with the East or the South. That they have always stood with the North, regardless of religious belief, because they see things not the way we see it. We like to see things on religious um, lens. The West see everything on transactions. It's all about their interest. They don't care who the devil is or who the angel is. They care only one thing: does it benefit the West? That's it. Until we start having the same mentality, just like I've told people from the East, from Eastern Nigeria, I said, you have to find out your political interest. You have to find out your economic interest, and you deal with the region in Nigeria that represents that interest for you. Don't worry about who is what, which region, which tribe, which whatever. Don't worry about that. That doesn't help. That will not make you, that will not bring anything to you. Religion or tribe don't benefit you, or doesn't benefit you. The religion or tribe doesn't benefit you. What only benefits you is your economic interest. So if the Western Nigeria has your economic interest, go with the West. If the Northern Nigeria has your economic interest, go with Northern Nigeria. You have to go with either of them that have your economic interest. We used to do that before the independent, but right after the independent, we lost ourselves.
Yeah.
We became a region that is either you're for me or you're against me. You can never do you're for me or you're against me in business transaction. It does not happen. You can do that in religion, but you can't do that in politics or business. No, you can't do either you're for me or against me. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah. I totally agree with you. It's a conversation that I'm very, very keen about because as I started to grow and kind of get an understanding of how the world actually works, everything comes down to economics, right?
Mhm.
Everything, even China, even China.
Oh yeah.
Everybody is thinking about the economics, but you want to make sure you're thinking properly about economics that benefits you short and long term, right?
Hmm.
There's a lot of people without the proper education only think short term in terms of
Hmm.
economics. It's easy. Just give me today. Let me go figure out what I have. 5 years down the line, you have nothing, right? There has to be a proper understanding of what kind of economics is sustainable long term, right? Which is basically a little of the things we're doing now: infrastructure, improving security, getting
Hmm.
power generation or electricity in the country, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And stuff like that. Um, Getting power in the country, education, right? Increased emphasis on education, and stuff like that. But I think economics is the basis of all of that. And
Hmm.
within economics, to properly understand economics goes back to what I was saying before: combination of two things. Like I think it's vital, and it's basically, I call it education, but it's not necessarily like going to university. Like I just mean just
Hmm.
knowledge, right? Like doesn't matter where you get it, actual knowledge, and actually the like the also the business side, economics. Because I think you can have that idea of how money works, but if you don't have the knowledge of how to put it all together, right? How to see
Hmm.
the different layers to it, right? Because you can just see and count numbers 5 years, but you're not adding all the other factors that matter, like what we're saying. How does it look? who likes this? How does emotion play into this? Psychologically, how do people think? What makes people
Mm-hmm.
happy? You know what I mean? When you start adding all those things to the economy, all those things affect economics, right? Like you just, and
That's
it's
right.
basically that knowledge and that professionalism that you can bring into it. I was having this conversation also based on what you said. I think the key, and it's happening right now, and some people would be like, okay, I'm in the diaspora or whatever, right? But one of the major keys is not the only, but one of the major keys to Africa's growth, or Nigeria, right, would be the people in the diaspora. And
Yes.
it's important we start. I hear the sentiment a lot that I'm never going back. That's a sentiment I always push back on in my presence, right? I'm not saying do it today, right? I'm not saying do it tomorrow, but don't just not be open to it, right? To me, that's a mindset of not being open to opportunity, right? And other than that, not being open to where you actually like come from and where the opportunity is there for you, right? So I think it's going to be key, because when we look at China and we look at all Singapore and you look at all these countries, India right now, India is on a,
Yeah.
it's on a huge trajectory upwards, right?
Oh
What
yeah.
what
Oh yeah. Oh
what
yeah.
is one thing that they did? India, for example, they have all major tech CEOs, right? Right in the West, right? Anybody that thinks those tech CEOs and those tech owners are not pouring back into India doesn't get it. They don't get it. Those are the people driving innovation and
Oh yeah.
technology in India, right? So it's also similar. So I know there are many people that share the same sentiment like me, but the more people that share the sentiment of your knowledge and your like your, like, it's important you know that you're a professional, what you do is valuable, right? The more you understand how
Mm-hmm.
important it is to what could become of Africa in terms of development, right, the faster it's going to happen. What do I
Yeah.
mean? The fewer people that get it, that do it, right? Growth happens when more hands come together. You know what I mean?
That's
So
right. That's right.
so I always encourage every professional like that I talk to, I see around. I'm like, I'm here. I've been here 13 years. I don't come. I'm not a hypocrite about it. I'm probably going to be here or be back and forth a lot, right? But let's not be closed to taking our talents, our children's talents, you know what I mean? The things that you've
Mm-hmm.
worked so hard to actually learn, because you, the same way with the sweatshop, whatever, whether you're first generation, second generation, somebody has gone through the toil, right? To
Oh
get you
yes.
to where you feel now, like you're in a first generation
Mm-hmm.
member. Take
Yeah.
that skill back. That skill is also very useful and valuable in places like Africa. And that's why I
Yeah.
think for the African leaders, they have to prioritize security. They have to, it's just something that has to be a no nonsense policy.
But you cannot bring security if you can't provide jobs. Because I got to tell you this, right?
Mm,
When you hungry, you can only listen to so much. Because and
yeah,
then one thing is that when you have group of people that are hungry, right? One of them
yeah,
might never steal; he might die of hunger.
yeah,
Then another one of them might attempt to steal, but decide not to steal
yeah,
because the consequences. Then one of them might steal and be caught and face the consequences.
yeah,
Then few of them might be criminals for life. This is what hunger will turn society into. There are of 10 hungry people, probably two of them might become a big time criminal,
yeah.
you know, because hunger led them to that. But the thing is this, you can't preach to somebody when they are hungry.
Hungry.
Yeah.
So,
So
so do
you
you
have to
think, feed them? Yeah. Do
but
you think Nigeria should become a hub for contracting worldwide? Because obviously, like I always look at it, are Nigerians willing to accept what countries like China did, what India did? Are the young people willing to avoid looking at these developed countries and realizing that we're not there yet, and actually being a manufacturing hub, right? Like a manufacturing hub where
It-
they are
let,
willing to not
let,
only
let
work.
me put it this way. Let me put it this way. It's long overdue. It's long
Mm.
overdue because Nigerians are longing for something like that. They actually want companies to come and invest for manufacturing and even for telecenter, which
Yeah.
means you can have a big building in one of the cities and then you staff it with people receiving calls, And today you don't even have to be in that building. They might actually mail you telecommunication softwares to your house, and then you can install it into your computer and you can be receiving calls and dispatching calls.
So
And
are people that want this willing to protect it? Because
of course,
yeah, for me that's the important thing, because businessmen wouldn't roll into any environment that their assets are not being protected. So what do I mean by
that
that? Like the call center, are people willing to protect it and kind of discourage things like scamming or things like that? Do we?
that is what we can do that because not every Nigeria is a scam.
Oh
If
yes,
every
but
if a lot of
are we willing to snitch on our own people
of course.
to make sure we don't chase away
I
this
don't, I don't,
investment?
I don't, I don't, I don't think that we ever going to chase away that investment when it comes to B. Nigerians will perform their duty to the best of their professionalism. They will do that. The only thing is this, right? Would there be people to abuse that? Of course, in
Of
every
course.
country, there
Yeah.
are always people that are going to abuse it. It's just like when you go to Nigerian airport. If you go through Nigerian airport, there are people that will approach you boldly asking you for money.
Just
Yeah,
one
go
minute.
ahead. Yeah, take your time. Take your time. Yeah. So, and the thing about this case is that is a thing that we have to understand that is country. No country can be developed. You see what I'm saying? Without technology, without direct investment or indirect investment, no youth, no country can have its youth unemployment reduced without businesses that will come there and create jobs. Onitsha or the eastern Nigeria is highly starved of technology companies from, like I said, from investment firms, real estate firms, um, telemarketing, engineering, computer and sciences, to banking, and as well as white collar jobs. If we don't have influx of those kind of businesses, even healthcare, healthcare companies, if we don't have influx of those, we are not going to have a region that is going to be stabilized, less anarchy, and conducive. Our environment in the eastern Nigeria will be filthy, dirty, and uninspiring. Like I keep saying, we need to make things right. We need to invite companies that will change the infrastructural outlook of our cities. Okay. Go ahead, bro. You were
Okay,
saying
so
something.
yeah, so I was talking about that idea of protecting it, right? It has to be incumbent on people that have the best interest of Nigeria as well to protect this investment, and we need to be very careful what how we approach this investment at this critical stage, right? Like example, the China thing. I see a lot of sentiments of people being like, China is taking over Africa, it's a problem. I'm like, somebody is going to invest. Who would you
Of
rather
course.
it be, right? At this stage, you all have, at least I, has have lost faith in the West investing in our country in good faith, right?
The West, if the West, because I've seen the West also saying the same thing,
About what?
invested in good faith in Africa. The same people that are crying that China is coming to take Africa is the same people that took almost everything from Africa for free for
Exactly.
almost 500 for almost 500 years. They got things for almost nothing.
Everything for free.
And
And
now somebody is paying for it and they cry. Whenever I see a Western man saying that to me, once I make one statement, they either walk away or they don't want to talk anymore.
no,
I
they
said,
don't
you
want to talk
shouldn't
about,
talk.
because it's true, right? Because
It's
it's true.
true.
I always tell anybody in the West that wants to come at Africa, I would be like, don't say that in front of me. Like, we're gonna have a chill conversation. But
Yeah.
the last thing I want to hear is the West talk about Africa like they
Mm-hmm.
care or like their
Mm-hmm.
ancestors care. What
Mm-hmm.
the West got from Africa. Now, I'm not in the conversation of if we give our people away or did not. I don't care about that. But what they got was something that is priceless. It's called free labor.
Free level.
Nobody is going to ever get that again. The world is too global. We all know it's not a good thing, and nobody is
Mm-hmm.
ever going to get it again. The thing is, they
Mm-hmm.
got this free labor when there was no computer phones and nothing to properly visualize it. They got this free labor however they did,
Mm-hmm.
and no other person is going to get this free labor again. And they
Yeah.
are asking you why you are the way that you are. It's because
Mm-hmm.
times have changed and only you benefited from the kind of
Yes.
trade that happened at that time. Now we have a
Mm-hmm.
different type of trade. We have to approach it in a global sense. China
That's
is
right.
our best option. It's not because
Mm-hmm.
it's a great option, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the best option. When China allowed the West to build their iPhones and their cars and stuff like that in China, that was their best option. Now
Mm-hmm.
they don't have to listen to them anymore,
That's right.
right? China is our best option at this point, and whoever doesn't understand that it's a net positive, what they are
Mm-hmm.
doing can see 10 years from now.
That's
And
right.
that's the thing, right? So I kind of look at that. There's something, whether it's business, education, whatever, there's an advice people will always say, right? If you're doing something, or basically insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right?
That's
We've
insanity.
seen, yeah,
Mm.
we've seen what the West has to offer us. We have to ask ourselves, do we keep want to keep doing that? Many Africans,
No, we
Nigerians
shouldn't.
are not happy. So we have to try China, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have to
Mm-hmm.
watch closely in the next 10, 20 years and see how it goes for us. If we don't like it too, we look around the world.
The, the one thing that I don't, one thing that I didn't like about, I don't like about the Western transaction is that they always look for the corrupt person to deal with.
Because the
So
corrupt person makes
they
it cheaper for them.
cheaper for them because they are constantly in search of cheap level. You see, old attitude cannot be stopped. You see what I'm saying? Old attitude. Because they are so entrenched in this old attitude of getting cheap labor, cheap labor, cheap labor to maximize their profit. So the West is not interested in buying something for $1 to sell for 20. They're always interested in buying something for $1 to sell for 500. They're
Apple.
always looking at that. They're looking for the maximization of profit. They don't see profit as something that I should invest for today. I'll probably seek in the next 2, 3 years of return on my profit or 5 years of return on my profit. No, they see it as a quarterly profit.
Yeah, quarterly
The
reports,
West,
invest shareholders. Yeah.
yes, the West is not settled if last year was the same as this year. In fact, it bothers me greatly when I look at the economic report of the West. When a company reports negatively for 3 years, they force you to close down your company
Yep.
because it's not profitable. Then, if a company annual report last year is better than this year, they might almost go bankrupt
Yep.
because they don't see it in a sense that in this company, excuse me, can be unprofitable for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. and then start becoming profitable again. They look at everything as either you're profitable or we're going to infuse cash or we're going to take you out. That is one thing that China does better than the West. China doesn't see things as constant profitability or inclined profitability. They see it as zigzag. And they also see as investing for the future. The West does invest for the future, but they don't have a patience for less return. They always have the patience. They see progressive return, which means if we invest $1 billion into this company today, we have to start getting return on the investment for the next 20, 30 years of inclination return.
Yep.
Anything declination return, sustained declination return, the company
They're out.
is gone.
Everything goes to the quarterly thing is a huge thing. You see companies like Bed Bath and Beyond, 2 years, pandemic issues, right? You see them like
Mm.
after 2 years, what if things don't start going back up? It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
nah, we're not doing that. But there's not that investor patience, right? It's really quarterly, as you said. And if it
Hmm.
continues, they don't look at things and be like, I can be losing for 5 years, but
No,
setting
no,
the
no.
foundation to win for another 20 years after that five
Oh
years.
no, no, no. It
A
breaks the.
lot of their
It makes them go crazy.
oh my goodness, a lot of their investments and their corporations can't do that, right? They don't do it, and that's why the failure rate of businesses is actually higher than people know. Because I actually think there is a lot of the sustainable ones for like hundreds of years, right? Know
Hmm.
what that means, even though in the beginning we don't know the records of how they began, right? Properly, right? But a lot of them have built things that have become sustainable for 100 years. But most companies are just purely that quarterly report. The shareholders
Oh yeah. Oh,
are just all over them, right? Venture capitalist mindset, right?
oh
About how
yes. Oh
returns
yes.
should be. But
Oh yeah.
I think,
If go ahead.
yeah, I really think it's if something is not working, you have to try something else. Like, and that's how I view the China situation in Africa is we have been closely affiliated with Western countries all this while. And in my opinion, the result hasn't been any kind of net positive for us in Africa. So
No,
it's some,
it's never been net
it's
positive.
never been
We've never even had a single year of net
pro.
positivity dealing with the West
It
in
is,
terms of in anything. We
yeah,
have
and
not
it's
had.
interesting. It's interesting is like the trajectory that they're going, which is green and electric motors and green products and stuff like that, is still at a major cost
Uh,
of an African countries like Zimbabwe
That's right.
for lithium
And
and Congo
and Congo.
for cobalt.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
always like all their dreams, all their great worlds that they want, all their passion is at the cost of someone else. And there is this
Yeah,
innate,
because they don't have mineral deposits to be able to sustain the world. Africa has that mineral deposit. They don't.
yeah,
And
Africa.
no matter the turn that you take in this world, your the solution to your problem goes through Africa. You see what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Yeah. So
We need to learn how to become the new Arab world because
that's
they had
right.
the solution as well and they found a way to make sure they benefit from it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We have to.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe Congo is still where they are. It's amazing. With
Uh,
with
you can't blame.
yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I
No, go
wanted to
ahead.
talk about rubber before even cobalt. When it comes to
Mm-hmm.
Congo and the Belgians coming in to take rubber and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
think
crazy that
no,
you
no.
don't learn from that, even when you have something the world wants
Oh,
now.
you can learn from that because the reason why is that one thing that the West master is what we call constant bombardment. If you look at Western warfare, they are very lenient. No, they are not lenient. They are pinpoint. on constant bombardment. If you can constantly bombard your opponent, you're going to break through. And that's what they've done with Congo. So there has never been a time when the West lifted a finger from Congo. Be it United States, be it France, they've constantly bombarded Congo. And I will tell you why. It's because every single government that comes in Congo, they make sure it's somebody that supports the Western exploration
And they put
or
them there, right?
exploitation.
Yeah,
And they constantly put the president, and whoever rules Congo has always been selected
yeah,
or anointed by the West.
yeah,
Because I got to tell you, there will not be aerospace today without Congo.
yeah. There would
If
not
you
be
if
the
no
automobile
Congo, no
industry.
aerospace, no
Yeah,
mobile industry, no aerospace components
and
without
no
Congo,
electric cars
no
and no
electric
electric
cars
cars
without
movement.
Congo
Congo is
at all.
literally the brainchild or the
Congo
core
feeds the world.
feeds
It
the
feeds the
world.
world.
It
Congo
is
feeds the
crazy.
world. It feeds the world and it's going to keep feeding the world for a long time
For-
to come. But the problem is, it's not Congo's fault. It's still the fault of African leaders. Our leaders are very, very religious
Hmm.
in attitude. And there is no way to have a corrupt man at the helm of government if that individual is not religious. The most corrupt people on earth are usually the most religious people on earth.
I had this
Yeah,
conversation lately. I'm always bothered to talk about it because I come from a very religious country, but you're absolutely
yeah.
correct.
Yeah, I tell them to their face all the time. The most corrupt people on earth is the most religious people on earth. Because the thing is that if you look at most religious country are most corrupt countries.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, so and the West understand that. They understand that Africa is a very religious region, thereby very corrupt region. So if you bring somebody that is very religious, they always justify their bad behavior through
true.
religious text.
And
Yeah,
what
they will.
is interesting is people don't get it. The religion that we hold so dearly was marketed to us, sold to us, and ingrained in us. It's
That's right.
not
That's
really
right.
our. It's not really
Yeah,
our
yeah, yeah.
religion.
The reason why we bought into it is because our religion is very punishable. You see what I'm
Yes,
saying?
it's not
Our
very kind
religion is
to
not lenient. It's very, very
discipline. Yeah.
punishable. It's very disciplined. So they seek the corrupt among us wanted something different, something whereby they can do something and not be punished for it.
Exactly.
They
Yes.
wanted even the world today is doing the same thing. They want to do. They want to display bad behavior but not facing the consequences. So it's in human nature to do that. But Africa mastered it back that, oh, if we can, the further we are away from the religion, the more corrupt we can become. And they choose the Western religion because it's more lenient
Yeah. To corruption.
to bad behavior and corruption. So what we actually the reason why I say that is because if Africa wants to fix its bullshit, right, we have to have leaders with a mindset of developing Africa, negotiate with the West shoulder to shoulder at equal footing. You see, the West won't like that
Yeah.
whatsoever. They're not going to like that. But at the same time, it's detrimental to the West if that should happen. That is why they are constantly in search of a corrupt African leader to always be at the helmet of leadership.
Always, always looking for
Always.
one. If you hear
Yes.
a Western agenda against a leader, know that for me personally, I just know this leader is not corrupt.
It's not corrupt. It's
It's
not
not
corrupt.
corrupt. The
Yeah.
all the corrupt leaders, in my opinion, you don't hear a word about them. And I would use an
Mhm.
example of the Cameroonian president, Paul
Oh yeah,
Biya.
beer,
I never
very
hear
bad.
him in the news. Never. I
He's never
watch
he's never been attacked by any Western nation.
never. And I watch the news, different types of news, Al Jazeera, come and anywhere, any angle. And it in my I'm always like, nobody has ever talked about him. The only way I knew about him is meeting a Cameroonian and looking it up. that's
That's right.
that's
I
how
did
I knew
not
about.
know. I think I started knowing about the president of Cameroon for the last 4 or 5 years. I was surprised that this guy has ruled a country
I did.
for 30 something years, and I did not know about it.
I did
And
not
then when I
know.
started reading the history, then I found out how pleasant he is to the West. I became suspicious
He
just like
lives.
you.
He lives
The
in
most
France, literally.
yes, the most hated African leader is the president of Rwanda.
He's amazing,
Yeah,
and I
he's
cannot even.
amazing. He's,
I can.
he's the most hated. And look at his country today.
Oh,
Rwanda is the most beautiful country in
Botswana too
Africa.
is a country I gotta mention that
And,
I
and
admire what they
Botswana.
do. Yeah,
Yeah. So those two countries are constantly attacked by the West because of their independence in choosing or choosing a path
that is not
to
Western aligned. Yeah.
prosperity that is not Western aligned. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's yeah.
I think that was the main thing. When I found that out, I was like, and then I understood how protected he is by the West, and I was like, that makes sense. Nobody calls it out.
Mhm. Very
If
well.
anybody had stayed in power that long, oh my goodness,
Well,
they go after you
very.
all the time. The moment
They
they don't
destroy.
like
They
what you're
destroy.
doing,
They destroy. They destroy your image.
they destroy
They
your
will
image and
destroy your
develop.
image. Yeah. Yeah,
So
but it comes down to what we're saying because I got to tell you this. When I discuss politics, I like to be literal, and I also like to be. I like to be as open as I can, but also I like to be objective as well. But I like to be truthful and realistic.
yeah,
We as a continent cannot be a continent where we kind of close ourselves up to the outside world. That's the problem. The reason why a lot of African leaders, or maybe Africa, is still in its predicament is because when we have a leader that is going to do the African bidding for Africa, they become extremists.
yeah, I agree.
When we have a bad leader, we also have a extremist. So we've always had extremists of either side.
Yeah,
But what we need is somebody in the middle, somebody that will negotiate with the West for what the West want, negotiate with China for what China wants, but also negotiate with them for what Africa wants.
and most importantly, why can't we just make both of them compete for what we have?
That is what I'm saying. That we
Yeah,
have to tell them, okay, you need this from us. This is what we need from you. We all have to negotiate. We have what we can export to your country and what you can't export to our country, so that way we don't make the global market competitive in
yeah,
the sense that it will affect your market. But we also need technology to develop our own, probably sell to ourselves, and have what percentage of what we can export to your market to maintain market fair,
yeah.
which I think that's what we as Africa should start negotiating
And
and
I
not
think
be
some countries are
so
doing it.
extremist. Yes, some countries I think are beginning to do it. But at the same time, my feelings, we have so many dirty cities. We have to come to the level where we tell the West, we need you to bring certain companies into our system in order to create opportunity, whereas we can export certain companies to yours to also create to create what we call employment. Because when you have companies from Nigeria going to the West, we're taking Nigerians with us,
Yep,
probably employing Nigerians in those countries because Nigerians are all over the world.
yep,
But also have the West bring the West and China bring companies into Nigeria that will also employ a certain amount of Nigerians, which is about 80% of both
yep.
on either side. But we also have to master the technology, using that technology to start creating ours. Because there are so many jobs that can be created in Nigeria only if we can bring the technology in our country and start producing that technology as well. I
Yes,
am not of the opinion of importing technology. No, we have to create that technology. So if you bring in a technology that can do cancer scan, you also have to be able to produce that technology that can do cancer scan. Yeah.
yeah, because what you said, why I said it's important to produce within the country is that a lot of times what people don't understand is that when technology is built and the ideal consumer base is usually for where it is built for. So when
Mm-hmm.
the West build things, they kind of solve their problems. Winter is not very common in many African countries. I got to learn there are some countries that have it, which is wild.
Oh,
in,
well, South
In
Africa
Africa,
does have.
South Africa,
Yeah.
Zimbabwe, stuff like that.
Zimbabwe.
But
Yeah.
but we don't have a lot of winter. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
technology that is built with being comfortable and useful for extreme cold weather. Now, if
Yes.
we're able to manufacture our product, we can also be like, those things are not very important to us. Now we solve our own problems. What do I mean by that? Like you said, cancer, right? If we can take the same technology that is used to for cancer, like cancer technology, you now ask yourself, what is our major um, illness or disease, and try to transfer it to the things that would make our own country more healthy. Because I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't think cancer is a major um, sickness in Nigeria. Diabetes is more common, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Very
Yeah,
common.
diabetes is very common. Now, how can we get the technology to either prevent, like and stuff like that for the things that actually are more to us? We always look at people always complain here about the medical system not being great for black people. Of course, it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be. The tests are done on majority white people. That's where
That's right.
the positive results are coming from. That's really what they
Mm-hmm.
cure. There are strains
Mm-hmm.
and things that about us that are a little different, right? And we don't
Mm-hmm.
research enough for that. We don't have billions for those research. You can't be
Mm-hmm.
too mad. At some point, we have to get the technology from them and go into our society, research, and
I
kind of,
wouldn't. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Finish up. Finish up.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
just
finish
wanted to
up.
say like for like the medical part, like because you said the cancer thing,
Yeah.
like go use the same technology, right? But when we
Yeah.
manufacture it at home, whether we know it
Yeah.
or not, we're actually manufacturing things based on how it works, all right, for the people within that society. Because it's hard to get, for example, like tested and all that with people that are international, with not within your country. At the end of the day, you'll be finding you're getting more efficient products, right?
Yes.
Within and that actually benefits that society. And that's a
Yeah.
long-term mindset because a lot of people will be looking
Yes.
like, oh, they're exploiting me today. But in the long
Mm-hmm.
run, your own economy
Mm-hmm.
and your own health or whatever would benefit by
Will
that thing being
benefit
done
greatly.
locally. Yeah,
Greatly.
by
Just look at it this way. It's like I was discussing with my brothers-in-law. Okay, he has a computer store, but he can't sell computer in the eastern region. No way. But he can sell alcohol.
mhm.
It tells you a lot. Not that we
Con-
don't have the money. We have
consumer
what we call
society.
yeah. We also have what we call misplaced priority. You see, if you go to the east, people drink a lot in the east. People consume a lot of alcohol. They eat a lot of red meat,
Yeah.
but they don't even have libraries. They don't even have computer. They don't have open hotspots. They don't have symphonies. They don't have research centers where you can do 24 century research programs. But governors are fighting, building political talks to go and have them win election the next 4 years. They
Yeah.
are spending more time building people that will help them win the next election or bring their own guy into election, whereas they are not even wasting that time building research institutions, building sustainabilities. They're not doing that, but they can discuss it, but they're not going to build
They're
it.
not doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
if it bothers me a lot, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree with you, and it's the same thing. An uneducated society has more of a
Hmm.
consumer mindset, right? A
That's right.
society that it's about today, it's about right now, it's about
Hmm.
what can I
Hmm.
get now, how much alcohol can I consume now, how much meat can I
Hmm.
eat right now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's
Oh yeah.
it affects your future, and the thing is, a lot of the people that the real anger that young people have with the older generation is always like, you guys have drank all your alcohol, now we're suffering for it. You know what I mean? But
Oh yeah.
I also say to the young people, if you go now and go drink the alcohol, it will still be
You
there
become
10,
pa-
20 years.
you do what the elders did by
Yeah.
becoming more alcohol consumers.
Yes.
It bothers me because if you go into the eastern region, you see a lot of advertisement for alcohol. You see a lot of advertisement for, yeah, cultural things, but you're not seeing a lot of advertisement for technology things. They might advertise cell phones. That's it. That's about it. But they're not advertising things that have to do with programs that will promote or advance the youth of today. Bring them into the 21st century, develop better cities, clean up the cities, make the riverine areas more clean so that people can drive. Okay, let me put it this way. If we develop our riverine areas, right, you're gonna have people driving jet ski from Onitsha to the open ocean. You're gonna have people building houses just right at that river bank, and also building their boat park. All they have to do is to wake up in the morning, like on a Saturday, they get into that boat, and then boom, out
They
they
are
go to
gone.
the ocean.
Yeah.
They go have fun because I gotta tell you, man, our country is so beautiful that you can have such a beautiful front water properties, real estates, high rises, and then you have a beautiful technological companies right at the riverbank manufacturing whatever they have to manufacture. And then you see people driving their boat on a Saturday with their wife and kids, and then they just go into the open ocean, and they can make either a right turn or left turn to whichever direction that they want to do, and park just right by all those ocean community to eat food, to go to the beach and enjoy their family outing that weekend. They can be gone on Friday evening
I'll
and
be
come
back.
back Sunday evening and start work on Monday. It will bring more attraction to our country. The things that we pray to go and see in the West, we can have it in our own place. Because when you go to Port Harcourt, you go to Ibino, you go to Eket, I'm sorry, you go to Ibino, you go to Calabar, you go to Ondo, you go all the way to Lagos.
Calabar is beautiful.
All those Calabar is beautiful. You look at all those open ocean front coastal line, all you see is nothing but beautiful, beautiful, beautiful communities that can be turned into places like Monaco tomorrow.
Yeah.
We can have lots of those in our shorelines, but no,
Yeah.
we rather travel to it so that no, so we can come home and brag about it. That's what we do.
Exactly. And these days, I'm like, people just want to stunt on the other person, right? It's basically
That's
just
right.
it's basically just stunting on the next person, right? And I've always wondered what the difference is. If you're having a good life, you're having a good life. You
In fact,
don't need to stunt it.
I've had people told me, "Oh, you live in the U.S., man. I like that, man. I would like." I'm like, you don't need to come to the U.S. You
Oh,
can bring the U.S.
that
here.
comes with a lot of pushback. If you say that,
Oh, they go crazy,
oh my
man.
goodness.
They go
Oh,
nuts. But the thing is this: I am somebody that like to explain.
yeah.
When you sit down and explain it to them, they're like, you know what? You are right. I'm like, oh, you see all those movies, those things you see on the movies in the US that have 90% lie about the United States, but you can actually build the same thing in this street. You can have it here. Only if 2 or 3 people that go to the US with
Yep.
that stolen money can decide to them build it here, you don't have to go there.
Oh yeah.
People can build it here. We have 10 people in Nigeria that go for medical checkup overseas can build the biggest hospital in Nigeria. In Nigeria, just 10 of them.
With the same amount of money that they spent.
With
Yes.
this, I'm telling you, just 10 of them can do that. But
So
then they forgot that the same hospital that they come to in the US was actually built by somebody that they are richer than in some cases.
oh yes.
Yeah.
What I'm interested in is how do we build trust amongst ourselves to actually get the job done?
No, no, we don't lack trust. I tell people this all the time. Anybody that tells me that there is trust issue in Nigeria is a person that doesn't want to tell himself the truth. I have raised that issue, and as soon as I counter it, they said, "You know what, you're right." No, it's not trust issue. It's ego issue.
Hmm.
When you see a common Nigerian that has money, and you tell him, "Can you go to your friends, 3 or 4 of your friends, and do business with them?" They're gonna be like, "Oh no, 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 I can't." Blah, 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 blah." And then I said to them, "Because you want to be the CEO and the owner, right?" It's like, yeah,
Partnership.
yeah. They don't like to do partnership. They want to own it. They want to be the one owning the company. They want everything in the company to be under his name, 100%. So he would rather do that business himself,
And
even though he
fail.
doesn't have the resources, and fail than to get involved with 2, 3 people because he wants to be the one taking the whole profit. He doesn't want to share the profit.
Yes.
So I
It's a
sat
big
with people. In fact, I was in Nigeria when I was discussing with my own family member in Nigeria recently, and then I said, "Okay, why don't you want to go into a business and invite 2 or 3 of your friends and be the biggest hotel in Nigeria? You don't have to manage it. You can give it hotel managers in Nigeria because
yep,
as Nigeria is, there are people that manage hotel for people in Nigeria.
yep.
These people can manage your hotel. All you need to do is to pay a certain percentage and you just go home,
And chill.
enjoy, and just chill. You don't have to work the rest of your life. They paying you every day because hotel revenue is daily.
Yep.
And do you know, my family member counted the whole thing, counted the whole. Then at the end of the day, I told him, "But you just want to own everything by yourself, right?" He said, "Yes."
Oh yes.
So, and he confessed and said, "That is the problem. That's our mentality. We don't like, even though we know we're not going to lose anything, that these people will give us that we're going to make profit, but just that ego is the
That I own
problem
it. But
that
you
I
know what
own
they
it."
do you know what they don't understand? When you own 51%, you actually own it.
Yes, but that is the thing that even when you, okay, when you own 51%, you own it. When you own 36%, you own it.
You own it.
That means when you own the majority share,
Share. Yeah. When you own the
you own
majority,
it.
you own it. Yeah.
So
You
you
can
can,
own
if you stand,
36%, and that is the majority, and you still own it. Yeah.
yeah, you can own 11%, and that's the majority. Because if it's 10 of
Facebook.
you and everybody own 9999, and you own the highest, or maybe one person owns 10, the rest owns 9.9% or 9.9%, and you own 11, you own it.
Yep.
You the largest shareholder. But the thing is this, right? Our people, that is why I said earlier that the fact that we have traders mentality is the problem. Because in our society, right, a trader doesn't like to go into partnership.
Yes.
When he's in partnership, he wants to be the loudest voice. When
Only
you
his
tell him that,
ideas has to be done.
that's it. And when you tell him that, okay, you don't have to be the loudest voice, he gets crazy, he gets mad, and he pulls his investment or his
Yeah.
capital. And that will bring the company down, but he doesn't care. He would rather take the company under than to have bruised ego.
Yeah.
I have that problem sometimes, but I have to talk to myself and say, you know what, you just need to stop
Oh no, I understand.
because you got to tell yourself the truth.
And what you said, actually, I learned something there because just basically what I just said now was what I actually thought without actually considering all the details. Because I thought
Hmm.
past 51% owns the company, but you're actually right. The correct thing is who owns the highest majority of shares owns the most. So I am more
Yes,
of a partnership kind of person because first of
hmm,
all, you do too much work for little return when you work alone.
that's right.
It's
That's right.
just the fact.
It's a
Yes,
high it's a high risk. It's a high risk to work alone because when everything go, you when the company goes under, you go under.
you go
It's a high
under
risk.
and it's just you and nobody is going to come running to assist you. But when you have
No.
five people, when you personally go under or everything is not working right, there are four people
Hmm.
to hold you up. There are four people
Yes.
that care,
Yes.
that
Yes.
genuinely care and wants to hold it up, right? If
Yeah.
you are three,
The same applies in family.
yeah,
When people tell me that I don't need a man, I'm like you crazy. If you tell me you don't need a woman, I'm like you crazy
you're crazy, yeah,
because you need somebody. We are interconnected. You need somebody.
oh
Everybody
yeah,
needs somebody. Everybody need everybody because there is no way you can be the father and the mother at the same time. No, it does not happen.
no,
You need to you need somebody to relieve you. So if you're in a business partnership, right, you need somebody that will bring, you need a different idea. You need a different thinking. You need a different mindset because
and you need different skill sets.
skill set because
I always say this that no matter how good you are, you're lacking in
mhm,
something. We all
you
have
lack it.
20, yeah, we all have 24 hours. Other people are
Oh
learning
yeah.
something else. You are learning
Yes.
something. You are
It's
good
just
at something.
it's just like the way your human biology, human anatomy is. You can't have two left foot. You
Yeah.
cannot. You gotta
Yeah.
have a left and a right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's bring this program to conclusion, and
Yeah.
I will be here on Monday. I
Okay.
think I'll be here. Let me look at it. I think I'll be here Monday at 1 o'clock. I'm going to discuss about Ibino Beach, and the development
Okay.
around that area. Because the thing is
So
this:
when you say 1 o'clock, is that Eastern time?
is central,
Okay, so
Eastern, 2 o'clock Eastern, two
two
o'clock
two
Eastern,
o'clock Eastern. Okay.
Yeah, 1 o'clock Central.
Yep.
So I'm going to have a discussion. My discussion today is centered on Onitsha. So I'm going
Yep.
to have a discussion centered on Ibino because of the reason why I'm going to discuss and then bring it about Ibino is because I've said it many times. Lagos is congested.
Yeah.
Lagos needs to be discongested. Some people, especially when I say it, some people take it personal because they are from that region. I'm like, no. A single region, a single state the size of Dallas Fort Worth or the size of Toronto
Mm.
cannot be the powerhouse of Nigeria economy. We need to distribute people or disperse people in Lagos or distribute people in Lagos to various parts of Nigeria, especially the coastal area. Nigeria has to develop five more cities around the Atlantic Ocean
Yeah.
to be able to be viable in the global economy.
And
We
that
can't have
Atlantic
one city
Ocean
on
thing
the
you say is vital, right? The way it really attracts people to a region, like California and stuff like that, like just
yeah.
Miami, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Having the
Hmm.
ocean really close by is a huge, huge like resource in
Any
itself.
city on the ocean in this day and age is a very powerful, prosperous city because even the reason why, if you look at in the primitive or in the medieval days, that the cities are located inland is because of war.
Yeah.
So during invasion, they wanted cities, that's the capital, to be inside because they wanted to. That's the
The
farthest
first
that
attack points are near the waters.
near the waters, and then gunship. gunship, bombs couldn't go further. So military personnel couldn't go deeper into. They get tired by the time they get deeper,
Yeah.
and so many guerrilla fighting and attack will kill them. So they will first neutralize cities on the coastal and take 10, 20, 30 years to actually get to the middle of the country.
Yeah.
But today, you can just press a button, an intercontinental missile will leave the coast of California and hit anywhere around the world.
Yeah.
You can leave Pangai, Pyongyang, North Korea, and hit anywhere around the world. You know,
So
but
for me,
one thing that one thing that the 20th century has changed into the 21st and beyond is that cities that are located on the coastal area are now commerce cities because of seaports, movement of goods and services are faster to the ocean, and today people love to live by the water area so for activities.
yeah.
If you look at United States, most cities in the US are located on the ocean,
Yep.
and these are 20th century cities.
Yeah.
They are all located. Paris is not a 20th century city. It's a medieval.
Medieval.
That's
Yeah.
why it's deep inside France. But California, New
Lo-
York,
England.
Los Angeles, even England, most of the cities now are coming to the ocean. You
Yeah.
know,
Most of them are coming to the ocean around the island. Yeah.
yeah, along the English Channel. But if you look at it, they are doing this now because they found out that United States and China have shown people that having cities on the ocean is the best way to move goods and services. Manufacturing, like today now, manufacturers are on the ocean, except top secret manufacturers are deep inside the hills or deep inside the country. But soft manufacturers, not military hardwares, are on the ocean. Even California in Los Angeles, they have two seaports.
Hmm.
So there is a need of five cities in Nigeria. There is a need of five seaports. And also there is a need of seaports on the river bank of River Niger, like Onitsha, Ihara. They need seaports there. Worry, they need seaports on those river banks because they need to move goods and services. Then when you go to something like Niger State, they need seaports in Niger State. They need seaports in Benue. They need multiple seaports. Like I'm talking about satellite seaports
Yep.
in around Nigeria on the river banks because of what? A 200 and something million people, you need movements of goods and services very fast.
Yeah.
Deliverable goods. You need to move things. There are things that are going to be manufactured in Nigeria that has to go to another state. So having seaports and having rail tracks, having
For
rail
movement. Yeah.
transportation
Right.
for
Yeah.
movements of goods and services in order to ease the pressure that is exerted on our highways. That's why you need seaports. You need railways to be able to take away
Yeah.
that pressure.
All the tankers, all the
Yeah,
commercial
supposed to go. Yeah,
goods supposed to go
they're
through
supposed
the
to be
trade
on the road track.
on the
If you
railway
can't be you can't be moving fuel tank from Port Harcourt to Abuja or to Kano on a trailer.
every
It's not
day by
supposed to be
trailer.
like that every day.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be on
Um.
a train.
The you said where was the location that you wanted to talk to about on Monday or
So
something?
yeah, so I'll be the location on Monday is going to be Ibino, Akwa
Even
Ibom
do
State. So I'm yeah.
Akwa Ibom, do you have any pictures from there or anyone that can get pictures? I always feel like
No,
it.
it's on my it's on my thumbnail. If you go to let me leave my I'm going to post my YouTube channel.
Okay.
So it's on my thumbnail. So if you go to my thumbnail, let me see real
Yeah,
quick.
I just closed the YouTube so that I can just
No, that's okay.
focus
That's
on
okay.
this.
That's
Yeah.
okay. I'm good. Yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna.
Okay, so I yeah, I think
It's
I'm
gonna be.
subscribed to you, so I should see it.
Oh, great. I appreciate that. I appreciate
Yeah.
that a lot. I'm going to say Ekene Igwenago channel.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Future. Okay. So future invest opportunity in Ibe in the local government area, and that's the picture, right? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess that was the idea I had. So I guess you already got started on that already. But yeah, it would be
Yeah.
nice to see the picture.
Yeah, you can listen to the previous video because the king of Ibino and I, we actually had a conversation
Okay.
on that. Yeah, but if you also go back but on Monday, I'm also going to be talking about talk more about it. But I think after August or September, I'm going to be coming up with videos that
Yeah.
will actually the video will then showcase the whole region because I'm going to have to do some aerial view of that area so that people can see how vision it is.
Yeah.
But that will be a little bit down the road. But what I'm trying to do right now is to have discussions
Yeah.
a little bit. But I want to focus mainly on nature, Imo, all the way to Port Harcourt.
Yeah.
You see, on how we can actually develop those regions and bring more technological companies from white collar jobs instead of traders.
Oh, yeah, I will be following up with it if I do have time on my check-in, but I will definitely
No
watch it
problem.
just to see how that is going. I do like what you're trying to do here. I have things I'm also doing here, but I try to always keep up with what's also going on back home as
No
much as I
problem.
can. Not
Oh
very
yeah.
easy, but I
Oh
would
yeah.
be around. Hopefully, I will be jumping in on your streams like this and have a conversation. I do enjoy stuff like this.
No problem. No problem. Thank you so much for coming, and then we will talk soon. I
Okay, no
appreciate
problem.
that.
Have a
Be
great day.
safe. See you
Okay,
soon again.
see you.
Okay. Bye bye. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, and I will be. So this program is coming to conclusion, and I really enjoy you guys tuning in today to listen to such a wonderful conversation between the two of us. Thank you for coming. It's not easy to have this kind of conversation, but I gotta be honest with you. This was good. So Onitsha, yeah, Onitsha is a very dirty city. But the reason why Onitsha is dirty is because of the prevalence of traders all over the whole city, concentrated markets, and everywhere there is market. So the city is not properly arranged. There is no city planning. But can it be fixed? Oh, I tell you, it can be fixed in a short time. It can be fixed that quick, only if people can do it. But at the same time, there are serious oppositions from cities like that because there are people that have massive economic investment for the past 40 years in our nature. They are going to fight back. But the only way is to let them understand that better things are coming. Better things that will make them far richer than they are today. But you got to keep them engaged. Keep them engaged. But I'm looking forward to the next program on Monday on Ibino. And I'm going to also have another program tomorrow for nature. So let's or maybe Onitsha or Oka, but I will be discussing many cities around the eastern region and beyond. I will talk about Nigeria, most cities around Nigeria, but I'm going to be going them on one city at a time. Thank you so much, guys, for listening and have a great day. Bye bye.